Hey there. So I want to talk about the initiation process. There's a lot of people that talk about it and they reference it in kind of sideways views. Like they say there's some sort of initiation going on rather than getting a little bit more specific and kind of addressing where it is that it's coming from and how it is that it's happening. Now, mind you, like the whole process is self-initiated. Let that be known, because everything is created with our focused attention. And whatever it is we focus on, we create more of. Most of us don't really understand the intricacy of what that actually means. Like anything you focus on will get stronger. And if you think something is a reality, then that's what the reality is going to be. And you can say that it's an illusory world or what have you. I think there's a very fine line there, because the whole thing does serve a purpose. It's not just because. And though it is self-initiated and will be happening under any and all circumstances, and the characters that play these roles that we've assigned them to help emulate what it is that we have stored inside and whatever it is we've been focusing on, there's also wise people that know that that's what's going on and will actually make exerted efforts in enhancing said initiation process. Now, I think you have to be pretty well adapted to pattern recognition and have identified the way in which things work and how it is you manifest your words and your thoughts and your focused attention, to finally be able to identify that there are some that literally do it on purpose. That they think that you think something, so they'll emulate something. Little do they know that you actually hold the awareness of it, and you're just kind of sitting back and watching people play these characters to these roles that you actually wrote the script for. And when you actually know the script and you know thyself at a core level, you can see it, and it's almost like they're really bad actors. And sometimes it's a little amusing. I'm getting to that point where it's kind of laughable that people could even be used as puppets in such ways, because it shows the true intention of whoever that might be. No matter how it sounds, I sound like right now, I literally have nothing left to lose, because I don't need anything to be complete. I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I live a very simple life, and I'm very happy with that life. Not to say I don't have dreams and desires, but there was all of these interesting fears that I would continuously emulate, because I was afraid of putting on blast the beings and whatnot that are actually trying to initiate this purposely driven initiation process for their own selfish reasons. I mean, I have compassion, because it really does show a lack of awareness. I mean, some might depict it as being wiser and then using the wisdom to their own advantage. But those that really know what's really going on, they wouldn't need to use such tactics. And the fact that they even do comes from a very deep sense of powerlessness, or being afraid of losing power and or authority, or having to actually dive deep into the emotional ripples that they've created in this lifetime and others. It's super pivotal important that we understand, or pivotally important that we understand, that we're the ones creating everything. And whatever it is we focus on, we get more of. And in the long run, yeah, sometimes you'll come to the point where there is an extreme level of gratitude, because you'll understand to the deepest level that you wouldn't know what you know like you know it had you not gone through said experiences, Not only realizing that you manifest your world with your thoughts and your power of focus, but that there's also people that are very confused and listening to the wrong inner voices that would actually think that they hold the power to awaken anybody or to initiate anyone into anything, especially if what they are trying to initiate them into is ruled by some sort of deity. Because in the grand scheme of things, we have no idols. We have no deities. We are the deities. So even if there was, let's just get really real, even if there was demonic forces trying to have people initiate people into serving them, that's impossible for someone like myself that understands that I hold a piece of whatever that is within me because I am all of existence. And it certainly seems to stand that those that would be serving these deities must not know, or they wouldn't be putting forth all of their services into that one directed point of focus. And it kind of saddens me a little bit at times, because there's a lot of people that think they know what they know that don't actually know what they know. Otherwise, they would be talking about it openly, and they would not be singularly directed in any one way. They would not be trying to use spells or certain tricks of the mind to try and manipulate outcomes to serve them, because they would realize that they're actually doing it to themselves, and that it's a very deeply embedded pattern of fear of loss of control and fear of truly knowing oneself and feeling the weight of the existences that have been created based on this false sense of power. And by serving anything. I mean, we've been warned time and time again to not worship false idols. And the reason it's said that way is not to put whatever the idol is to shame, but it's because the idol is also you, and that you are the idol, and everything is everything, and there's no exception to that. And it's not something that needs to be manipulated. It only is if people like to say, well, I don't want to have any rules, nothing's going to control me, I'm not going to follow any false narratives. Meanwhile, they're creating a whole narrative based on that, which is another false narrative. I mean, there shouldn't be any. Everybody should be open, forthright, authentic, real with what's happening, and all of that should be prominently obvious to those that actually know what they know at a heart level, not just an intellectual level that's figured out how to work the system. Because the system is here to benefit everybody. Dark, light, doesn't matter what it is. It's all happening. And I find it really interesting, like I said before, to watch people playing out these roles for scripts that people like me remember writing. You know, I understand to such a level the reason in which this matrix has been put in place, why our energy is recycled and repeated, because we have not come to the core of a good use of our powers of manipulation. I spoke to a friend recently, and I was talking about said cube, right? And how there's many people that think that our energy is being siphoned, so to speak. And mind you, you can hold any perspective you want, but I always bring it back to the one that makes the most sense for the all, right? So let's just say this is an earth school, which many things and people have stated that that's what this is, and it becomes pretty obvious. Well, that would be for a purpose. Why would you need to go to school unless you're learning something to help you at least evolve in your levels of understanding, right? And if you hadn't done that, you would then spread it throughout the ethers and into many universes, and you'd have things happening in the sky like Mars fighting Venus. You know, there has to be a firmament, so to speak, that kind of keeps you within this bubble so that whatever it is you're expected to work through and remember won't leak out into the rest of the universe, creating, I don't know, Earths being destroyed time and time again, if that's a potential, which I believe it's possible. Looking at what I'm looking at, I can see how it's definitely a possibility that we've done this many times, and so much selfishness and greed and lust and wrath were rippled out in such a way that it created mass catastrophes. So how smart it would be to kind of isolate people into this one little arena, have them cycling through over and over again, however many times it is necessary, before they are earning the right to be a part of the multiverse. So this cube, and mind you, a cube, I think it's for a special reason, because if you understand kind of like what I understand about fractal implosion and how we're creating like this centripetal force within us that actually alchemizes everything and brings it back to the 0 point, or to the golden ratio, if you will. Like, it makes sense that our energy would be fed into a cube so that it would then just ricochet back and forth, creating its own reality time and time again, rather than becoming centripetal. Like if it was sent into some sphere, it would become the golden ratio, so that wouldn't really serve a purpose. So I think it would need to go into a cube. And mind you, this could all sound like poppycock to some, but it's seeming pretty common sense to me at this point. And I'm doing what I'm supposed to do with the energy. And I have bit by bit identified all the patterns that play in my conscious awareness and that I see emulated through my reflective process and through the world that I project based on what it is that I understand. And because I understand at such a deep level that everything is a reflection of I, or source, I know that there's something to learn from everything. And so rather than be afraid or confused or pissed off, now mind you, I tap into all of those for just a brief moment, just long enough for me to see how it applies to everything else, back to the shadows on the cave walls, So it's really important, I think, for everybody to understand that no matter what kind of initiation process that you think you're undergoing, that you have the power of what you focus on, and making it stronger, finding the wisdom within it, seeing how it applies to excelling your path, and or evolving your spirit, or giving you another level of wisdom that you can then add to the next piece and the next piece. It's like this beautiful unfoldment that takes place. But no one is ever in control of you. And the only way you end up finding that out is getting to those certain peaks that I've been to maybe 2 or 3 times. It's kind of funny that I've had to revisit it a few times, but I understand the point. You have to get to the point where you understand you're creating this world so much to know that you wouldn't lose your life or be taken out of the program unless that's what you focus on. And those of us that don't understand the power of focus will actually buy into that fear-based propaganda that will actually keep you from speaking a truth that could set your soul free, and all of the aspects and reflections of your soul that are emulated through the people in the world around you. And I think that it really makes it all make perfect sense, especially if you start realizing that if you just redirect your focus into something that you love, or that feels good, or that you're passionate about, that other world doesn't even exist anymore. That's like a real thing. And mind you, it'll keep trying to sneak in. And of course, like I said before, there's going to be situations that when you get to certain levels of awareness that you'll understand are taking place because whatever it is that's being emulated is being done from a lower state of awareness, where they obviously don't know that you're aware, or they are, and they want to scare you into like, isolation or something, which is hilarious because I think that some people think that I'm actually hiding, when really this is just my life. My sun sign is a Cancer. I love my freaking nest. I don't need any extras in order to feel satisfied with my life and my existence. I don't need status. I don't need things. I don't need money. Mind you, it just keeps finding me. I mean, I manifest everything that I could possibly need, and even more when you're in this state of focusing on what it is that you love and the gratitude you have for everything that you need always appearing just in time without any effort of your own other than by focusing on your gratitude. So that's kind of where that whole initiation process thing comes in. I am actually grateful for the fact that it has been the greatest catalyst to my awakening. And I will never veer from that level of gratitude. But I'm also not going to be played with or tooled. And I think it's pivotally important for all of us to take back our power at one point or another and call out the illusion or the distortion that it is that we see. If for no other reason to allow somebody else that they're a puppet. I know that sounds cold-hearted, but it's a real deal thing. Those of us that have higher levels of awareness and stronger toroidal fields, we're literally dictate what other people are doing. And it's like, wait, do you even have your own life? Do you have anything better to do than serve some weird-ass reflection that's trying to stop other people on their trajectory and keep them from reaching their highest peaks in this existence? I mean, it's kind of sad. And I guess we have to have compassion for that. If that is the thing that takes place, that would make you a pretty important person for anybody to go through such lengths to actually spend time, which is your most valuable currency as far as I'm concerned, in playing roles that aren't even helping them excel in their own path. Really just keeping them holding this false sense of power and control over their whatevers, Like it's kind of sad. And I have a lot of compassion for the fact that some people waste so much of their time. But I'm done with them wasting mine. I have things I'm here to do, and this is one of them. And I'm very keenly aware of that, because I'm just being who I am. I'm not doing anything because I feel like I have to do it, like I'm some chosen one, or like there's something that's supposed to happen that if I don't do certain things, it's not going to happen. I mean, I'm looking around me, and there's a lot of me's running around that understand exactly what it is that I understand. Maybe not to such an intricate level because they haven't experienced as many traumas to have as like a baseline for their learning experience, like a basic outline of things I've seen and witnessed and observed that didn't make sense in my life. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I was born this way, hence always being the counselor to my mother and always being called an old soul, and all because I'm just being me. I'm not making any extra efforts. I am definitely not a witch of any kind. I do not practice magic. I light candles for ambiance. And if nothing else, I might send out peace with the power of the flame. But I really just do that because that's just who I am, and I wish peace for other people. I'm not trying to force peace on anybody. But at the same time, I don't do anything. I've never read any books on magic. All I've done is unfolded the magic that I am at the core level, which we all are. But there's so many layers to this illusion and or veils to tear through in order to see that it's always been you. And only you in many fragmented forms. Which, I know sounds mind-blowing. That doesn't mean that everybody else isn't just as divine and intricate a piece of the puzzle as they created themselves to be. But we're all doing this together. There is no one God. The one is all of us together as one. Understanding that I am you and you are me, And the guy next door is me and you and God and all that exists. And knowing that and operating in that place would leave you only wanting to support yourself. It wouldn't want you, like, if you understood that you weren't God without the person that you're looking at, then you probably wouldn't want to try and control the person you're looking at, because you'd know that it's working together as one that truly makes you the true essence of Source God. And I think it's pretty important that we start identifying that and coming correct with the people in our lives and giving our best and highest authentic selves, not buying into fear-mongering or anger or lust or greed, and realizing that whatever we want for ourselves, we should want for others. And whatever we want for others, we should also want for ourselves. I think the initiation process is beautiful. And if you get to that point where you realize that there is no one God other than the one that is united with everything that exists. I guess that's all I got. But I have so much love for each and every person that ever watches anything that I put out in video form or reads my writings and can identify that I have literally been documenting the whole awakening process and the process of disillusionment. And sometimes I've put myself out there right in the middle of the most embarrassing states of all because I was buying into one thing or another. And I'm totally cool with that, because that's exactly what all of us go through. And it's exactly what I'm going to be putting out there from here on out, because all I have is truth. And I'm not trying to bullshit any of my reflections. And I don't care if I'm saying too much for anybody to process, because at some point, this little voice of mine will ring in your mind, and you'll understand that there is something beautiful to be seen in there that is a reflection of you, and that is trying to talk to the deepest levels of your soul. And I honor that. And I have no one to be but me. And I have never felt more me than ever before. And I'm only getting happier and happier with what it is that I see myself emulating in the world around me. And I know I'm creating ripples that my children can ride, and that they'll gain wisdom from what it is that I'm saying. I can actually see it ripple out in their lives without them even knowing what I'm doing. I have an older child who's 20 and a younger one that's 8. I can see where it is the trajectory goes to and where it is that it started from. And I can see how it is that when we teach the younger generations, the ones that are, especially the newer ones, how it is we're supposed to be doing this, that the ripple will continue. Because I was born, well, I was aware but asleep, but I was born not knowing what I know. And had I known what I know, like I teach it to my younger child, the youngest one, the whole trajectory of that aspect of me, or the grand I, or source, will ripple out and create an entirely new existence. And I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of me. I'm proud of my courage. I'm proud of the fact that I have never wavered in my love for anybody that I have ever loved at any time. I only hold the utmost respect and gratitude for all that they've helped me see in me that I wasn't aware of at that time. And I am just eternally grateful. And I know, like I know, that you will be too. I love you guys. Peace out.